When we left off our last video, we had basically finalized the 2023 crop year. We imported or input our final yields. We finished up all of our grain marketing, locked basis. And so we have basically no variability. We know where our year is going to end up. Basis is all locked, so there's no variability there. There's no variability. Farm yields are all known, and so they're locked. And prices no longer matter because we've contracted all of our grain. So we basically have finalized our 2023 year. What we're going to do now is go back and look at our budget. So this is our current budget as of November 1st. And as I said, we've got everything pretty much buttoned down and locked. Now let's look at what are the variances from our original budget. Remember, we published a budget back in the planning phases of the year on March 10th. So we had a baseline budget. This is what that was. And you can see we're expecting $292,000. So we fell a little bit short of that. Let's just do a quick review of the things that happened over the course of the crop year. And it'll help us evaluate our decision-making process and examine where things ended up. All right, let's go through kind of line by line here. First off, you can see we exceeded our corn budget by 5 bushels an acre, fell short of our full season beans by 3 bushels an acre, exceeded wheat, fell short on DC beans. We had contracted some grain back in on March 10th, but now we've contracted the remainder of our grain. So what happened overall to our realized price per bushel? Well, remember, there were some significant price declines in harvest futures prices in that interim period. But because we had contracted grain, 40% of our grain by March 10th, we buffered some of that price decline, and we were able to let's see here for our basis was a little better than what we thought, and the net of it is our realized price was down relative to what we had originally anticipated, but not nearly as significantly as the price declines. So our revenue was down $109,000 relative to what we had planned for in the original beginning of the year. As we remarked earlier, we're receiving, because of the substantial decline in corn prices, offset by our slightly better than anticipated corn yields, we're going to receive $21 an acre. I anticipate receiving that on our 90% policy. That's the 75% RP policy with SCO and ECO stacked up to the 90% level. So this is what we'd anticipate. Recall that we're making a yield-based adjustment to non-land costs. We outperformed on our corn, and so there's a slight positive increase in costs for corn, a reduction in beans, full season beans and DC beans, and a little bit of a bump up in wheat because of the outperformance on corn, underperformance on full season beans, outperformance on winter wheat, and underperformance on DC beans. The fact that we had established the variable land rent with our landlord is going to save us, relative to what we originally anticipated, roughly $22,000, and we're going to end up paying. And the net of all that is a $67,000 reduction in cash flow relative to what we'd originally anticipated. So our decisions around crop insurance, around having marketed grain earlier in the year, around having variable land rent, those things really did come to benefit us in this crop year, and basically hedged our downside in a significant way and largely assured us a reasonably good year for 2023. In the next video, I'm going to take a look at a farmer that this same farmer that didn't market any grain, chose an 80% RP policy, and didn't have and just paid straight cash rent, and see what that farmer what would be the variance in that farmer's results from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And I think what you'll see is that farmer will find themselves much less well hedged and having performed materially worse. And so that those levers that we used to manage risk at the beginning of the year really paid off for this particular Madison County farmer, and he ended up the crop year doing really overall quite well relative to many others who did not take those same steps, risk management steps, early in the course of the crop year.